All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring the internet, computer, and AI tokens.
Okay.
We've got some pretty interesting stuff actually. A mix of crypto news articles, some market analysis, and even a social media post that kind of caught my eye.
Okay.
Basically, we're going to try to figure out what is going on with the internet computer, ICP, and how all this new AI tech is impacting it.
It's really interesting to see how those two things, AI and the internet computer, are kind of becoming more and more,
connected.
based.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it all started with this Binance Square post by this guy, Android 17 Nil, that I saw. He pointed out that ICP's market cap has just exploded.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about a $4 billion increase just in the last month.
Wow.
From like early November to now January 2025.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder what's driving that,
Well, it seems like there's just so much more interest and activity on the and computer network these days. There's reports of more people using it, more development happening on different projects built on the platform. And if this keeps going, we could be looking at some pretty serious revenue, which of course gets investors excited.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's looking pretty good for the internet computer, at least on the surface.
Right.
But then we have this new AI model coming out of China, DeepSeek R1. And it's really kind of shaking things up.
Yeah.
It's been making headlines because it was developed for like way cheaper than all its competitors.
Okay.
I'm talking $6 million compared to billions spent by companies like OpenAI.
Oh.
It's a pretty big game changer,
Absolutely. And the market definitely reacted to that.
Yeah.
When that news came out about DeepSeek, the AI crypto market, it dipped.
Yep.
It lost like 13.3%.
Wow.
And even NVIDIA's stock felt it. It dropped 8.5%.
So this was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me how even Bitcoin, which usually is pretty steady, dipped to an 11-day low. It seems like this DeepSeek news kind of sent a shock through the whole crypto world.
Yeah.
Especially those AI tokens.
Yeah, and it was different for different tokens, like Doji. They had a big drop, like 45%.
Okay.
And then Imperial, initially it fell from $189 to $132.
Wow.
But it's starting to recover.
Okay.
And then you got Henlo, which dropped 20% in just 24 hours.
Wow, that's crazy.
On like 43% across the week.
So it's kind of a mixed bag. Some are doing better than others.
Yeah.
What about the bigger, the big players like Near Protocol and obviously the internet computer?
Yeah.
Did they escape the DeepSeek effect?
Well, not really. I mean, Near Protocol dropped by 11.1%.
Okay.
And the internet computer, ICP, fell 8.5% in just a day.
Okay.
And over the past week, it's down a more significant 18%.
Wow.
Actually, there's a crypto price analysis article in Crypto Daily that really digs into ICP and how it's struggling.
Okay.
They point out that there's a bearish MACD, which might mean it's going to keep going down.
Wow. That's not great.
No.
So DeepSeek coming in has basically just like thrown a wrench in the whole AI token thing.
It's kind of shaking things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13.3% drop in just a day.
Yeah.
And 12% decline over the whole week.
Right.
It makes you wonder if this is actually going to be good for these tokens, help them?
Right.
Or is it going to hurt them in the long run?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there are some analysts, and there's this article in the Tribune, which altcoin is set to overtake internet computer, ICP, and Dogecoin in 2025.
Oh, wow.
It mentions this JP Morgan analyst who's making some pretty bold claims.
Okay.
They think DeepSeek might actually be good for these AI crypto tokens in the long run.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying because it's open source and way cheaper, it could make crypto projects more, sustainable.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, if it makes developing AI more affordable and accessible, maybe could lead to more people using it, more innovation,
Yeah, it's almost like DeepSeek has created this, survival of the fittest thing.
Right.
Only the strong will survive.
Right.
The AI projects that can really deliver,
Right, yeah.
those are the ones that will thrive.
So that's where platforms like the internet computer, with its unique features
Right.
and that focus on decentralization, could really shine.
Exactly, yeah.
CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap both have these articles.
Okay.
They give a good overview of the internet computer project. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've taken a look.
I've got to say, I'm really interested in this idea of creating a truly decentralized internet
Yeah.
powered by blockchain. This whole concept of a world computer.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, hosting everything from social media to DeFi apps.
Yeah.
Without needing traditional IT infrastructure. That's pretty mind-blowing.
Right.
I mean, what would that world actually look like?
Right. It really makes you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would it change how we go online?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what makes this whole thing so fascinating.
Right.
We're not just looking at, prices going up and down.
Right.
We're talking about maybe changing the whole internet as we know it.
Totally. So for people who might not be familiar with the internet computer, can you break down what makes it so special?
Sure.
And why it could be such a game changer?
Yeah, so the internet computer has a few things that make it stand out from other blockchains.
Okay.
One of them is its use of canister smart contracts.
Canister smart contract.
Yeah, they're basically self-contained programs that can do all sorts of things like host websites, process transactions, even run complex AI stuff.
Okay.
And because they run on a decentralized network, they're resistant to censorship, outages, all those problems with the regular internet.
Right. So instead of relying on those giant data centers we always hear about, we could have all these computers all over the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Working together to run these apps.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking power back from big tech and giving it to the people.
That's exactly.
What about the cost?
Yeah.
Isn't running all that incredibly expensive?
Well, that's where another cool thing about the internet computer comes in.
Okay.
It's called the reverse gas model.
Reverse gas model.
Yeah, so in most blockchains, users have to pay gas fees for every transaction.
Right.
But on the internet computer, it's the developers who cover the cost of computing, not the users.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So people can use these apps without worrying about gas fees.
Exactly.
Which can sometimes be a real pain.
Yeah, especially for people who are new to crypto.
And I also read that it has this chain key TX functionality.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That lets it talk to other blockchains like Bitcoin.
Right.
Without needing those like risky bridges.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you explain what that is and why it's important?
Basically, it means that the internet computer can talk to other blockchains, share data and stuff.
Okay.
Like a universal translator.
Yeah.
And this is a big deal because it opens up a ton of possibilities for making different blockchains work together. Instead of being separate, they can all connect and work together.
It's like building bridges instead of walls.
Exactly.
And I've seen that there are already a ton of cool projects being built on the internet computer across all kinds of things. DeFi, NFTs, social media, games, even the metaverse.
Yeah.
It seems like developers are really into it.
Definitely, yeah.
It's crazy to think what could be possible,
Yeah.
What if we could have totally decentralized versions of like all the apps and services we use every day?
Yeah.
All powered by blockchain, free from big tech control.
It's a pretty wild idea, isn't it?
It almost sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, it's definitely an ambitious vision, and there will be challenges, but the internet computer is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure.
But we can't forget about DeepSeek and its impact on the whole AI landscape.
Yeah.
We talked about the initial market reaction, but what about the long-term implications of this cheap open source AI model?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one we're going to keep exploring as we continue this deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Definitely got me curious. So let's unpack this a little bit more and see how these two forces might collide.
Okay.
And maybe even reshape the future of the internet as we know it.
Let's do it.
Right.
This whole DeepSeek disruption, it really makes you think about what's next for AI.
Yeah.
Especially for platforms like the internet computer.
Right.
What really stood out to you from those articles about how DeepSeek is impacting AI tokens?
I think for me, it's how quickly they developed DeepSeek R1 and how much cheaper it was to make compared to, the competition. It's like everyone's got to rethink how they develop and fund AI now, which could be a huge advantage for crypto projects that a lot of times they don't have a ton of money to throw around.
Right. It's like survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah.
The AI projects that can adapt, get more efficient, and really show they're valuable, those are the ones that are going to make it.
So you're saying that platforms like the internet computer, with its features like that reverse gas model, they might actually come out ahead in all this?
I think it's definitely possible.
Okay.
The internet computer's reverse gas model where users don't have to pay those transaction fees, could become even more attractive now that everyone's so focused on costs.
Yeah.
Think about it. Developers could build and launch AI apps without having to worry about those extra fees.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
If AI gets cheaper and easier to use because of DeepSeek, then a platform like the Internet Computer, which already tries to keep costs down for users, becomes even more appealing.
Exactly.
It could attract all these new developers and projects who are looking to take advantage of that shift.
Exactly. DeepSeek might actually pave the way for more people to start using platforms like the Internet Computer.
Okay.
By making it cheaper and easier to develop AI, we could see a whole bunch of new apps and services popping up.
So what kind of apps are we talking about here? What can a decentralized platform do for AI that traditional models can't?
Think about AI apps that are resistant to censorship, data breaches, manipulation. Imagine like a decentralized social media platform where the algorithms are totally transparent and your data is actually secure. Or healthcare apps where patient information is stored and analyzed on a distributed network. So it protects privacy while still allowing for cutting-edge medical research.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But wouldn't building those kinds of apps be super complicated?
Well,
how do these canister smart contracts even work?
Yeah.
And can they really handle running those complex AI algorithms?
It's actually a pretty elegant solution. Think of a canister, like a tiny little computer that runs its own code and has its own data. Developers can build these canisters for specific tasks, like running an AI model, and then they deploy them onto the Internet Computer Network.
So instead of one massive program, you have these smaller modular units that you can kind of mix and match.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense. But wouldn't that create a lot of overhead?
Well,
wouldn't it slow things down?
That's where the Internet Computer really shines, It uses advanced cryptography and consensus mechanisms to make sure all these canisters can talk to each other and work together efficiently without sacrificing security or decentralization.
Okay, this is a lot to process.
Yeah.
I get the idea of decentralization and the benefits, but what does it actually mean for everyday people who aren't developers or into crypto? How would a decentralized internet with AI actually affect their lives?
It's about giving people more control, control over their data, their online experience, ultimately their future. A decentralized internet with AI could help us solve some of the biggest problems we're facing today.
Like what?
Like what?
Yeah, give me some real world examples.
Think about data privacy. Right now, our personal information is everywhere, all these different platforms and servers, often without us even knowing or agreeing to it. A decentralized internet could give us back control of our data so we can choose what we share and who we share it with.
Yeah, I think everyone worries about that these days with all the data breaches and privacy issues.
Yeah.
It feels like we're losing control of our own information.
Exactly. And then there's censorship. Governments and companies can control what we see and hear online. A decentralized internet could make the flow of information more open, more resilient. So everyone can have their voice heard without being silenced.
So it's not just about technology then. It's about freedom of speech, freedom of information.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
It is, and it goes even further. A decentralized internet could create more fair economic opportunities. Imagine creators and entrepreneurs connecting directly with their audience without needing middlemen taking a cut.
You're painting a pretty exciting picture.
Yeah.
But also a little bit scary. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but that's what's so cool about exploring these topics.
Yeah.
We're at the very beginning of a technological revolution.
Yeah.
And it's important to talk about this stuff and think about how it could affect our lives.
Okay, we've talked about the good stuff.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Are there any downsides to this whole decentralized internet powered by AI?
Well, of course there are challenges. Scalability is a big one. The internet we have now is massive and complex. Building a decentralized version that can handle all that traffic and data. It's a huge task.
And then there's security. Even though centralized systems get hacked.
Yeah.
How can we be sure a decentralized internet would be safe and resilient?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
Security is paramount, and developers are working on new ways to protect these decentralized networks from bad actors.
Okay.
One approach is using that advanced cryptography and those consensus mechanisms to make it super hard to hack.
Okay, so it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But there are solutions in the pipeline.
Right.
What about getting people to use it?
Yeah.
People are used to the internet as it is.
Right.
How do we get them to switch to a decentralized platform?
That's where the user experience comes in.
Right.
Decentralized apps need to be just as easy and intuitive to use as the centralized ones.
Right.
Developers need to focus on simple interfaces and smooth onboarding.
So it's not just about the tech itself, but making it easy for anyone to use?
Exactly. It's about creating a decentralized internet that's not only secure and reliable,
right,
but also user-friendly and empowering.
I'm starting to see the potential here.
Yeah.
But before we get lost in all the, utopian possibilities,
right,
let's bring it back to the internet computer.
Okay.
How is it going to navigate this changing landscape?
Yeah.
Especially with DeepSeek coming in, all this focus on AI.
Well, the internet computer has a few advantages that could help it do really well. First, its unique architecture and canister smart contracts. They provide a really solid and flexible platform to build and launch AI apps.
Okay, and what's the second?
The second is its reverse gas model.
Right.
It's a huge draw for developers who want to save money.
Yeah.
Especially now with DeepSeek shaking things up and making AI development cheaper.
Right.
And finally, its focus on interoperability means it can connect with other blockchains and systems.
Right.
Which is how we create a more interconnected and decentralized web.
So the internet computer isn't just a platform for building decentralized apps.
Right.
It could actually be a driving force behind this shift to a better, fairer digital future.
Exactly. It's about creating a world where people have more control over their data, their online lives, and ultimately their own futures.
This has been a really eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
We started out talking about market trends.
Right.
But now we're talking about some pretty profound questions about the future of the internet.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand the internet computer so much better now.
Yeah.
Its potential, the challenges it faces.
For sure.
But what about the internet computer itself? How does it actually work? Technically, what are the nuts and bolts of this whole world computer thing?
Okay, so imagine a global network of independent data centers, each one running its own special hardware and software, all designed for the internet computer.
Yeah.
They all contribute computing power to the network, creating this world computer.
So it's like instead of one massive server farm owned by one company, we have all these computers all over the place, all working together. That's amazing. But how do they all talk to each other?
Well, that's where the blockchain comes in.
Yeah.
The internet computer uses this thing called threshold relay.
Threshold relay?
Yeah, it's a consensus mechanism.
Okay.
It makes sure all the computers agree on what's happening on the network and how to execute smart contracts.
Yeah.
It's like a giant decentralized voting system that prevents anyone from taking control or messing with the network.
So it's secure and decentralized, but how does it actually handle all the apps and data?
Right. Well, we talked about canister smart contracts, right?
Yeah. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. So think of a canister like a little container that holds the code and data for a specific app.
Okay.
Developers create these canisters, upload them to the internet computer, and then people can interact with them like through their web browser.
So it's like having all these tiny programs running on a global network.
Yeah, pretty much.
Each one doing its own thing. But what about things like, logging in, storing data, all those other things we need on the internet?
That's all built into the internet computer itself.
Okay.
The canisters can use those built-in services to handle things like user authentication, data storage, talking to other canisters.
It's like having a whole operating system for decentralized apps.
Yeah, exactly.
All running on this global blockchain network.
That's right.
That's incredible, but wouldn't that take a ton of resources?
What?
How does it handle all those calculations and transactions without slowing down?
That's where it gets really cool.
Okay.
They use this thing called orthogonal persistence.
Orthogonal persistence.
Yeah, it basically means the canisters can store their data right on the blockchain.
Okay.
So they don't need traditional databases.
So it's like each canister has its own little hard drive on the blockchain.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
That's really smart. So it can access and process information much faster.
Exactly.
I have one more question. How do developers actually build these canisters?
Sure.
What kind of programming languages and tools do they use?
The Internet Computer supports a few different languages, like Motoko, Rust, and even some web languages like JavaScript.
Oh, wow.
They also have a bunch of developer tools and libraries that make it pretty easy to build some pretty sophisticated apps.
So you don't have to be a blockchain expert to build on this platform.
Not at all.
That's good, but let's step back for a second.
Okay.
We've talked about all the technical stuff.
Right.
But what are some real-world examples of things being built on the Internet Computer?
We're starting to see some really innovative projects.
Okay.
In DeFi, there are decentralized exchanges and lending platforms.
Yeah.
They offer more transparency and security than traditional finance. In social media, there are platforms that really prioritize user privacy and data ownership. And in gaming, we're seeing these immersive worlds and virtual economies that are owned and controlled by the players.
So the Internet Computer is like the foundation for a whole new internet.
Yeah, you could say that.
One that's decentralized, secure, and puts users in control.
That's the idea.
Are there any examples of this working on a larger scale?
Yeah, definitely.
Any projects that have really taken off?
OpenChat is a good example. It's a decentralized messaging platform. It's got hundreds of thousands of users.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it shows that you can build scalable, user-friendly apps on this platform.
So the Internet Computer is more than just an idea.
Right.
It's actually happening.
It's gaining traction.
But, like with any new tech, there are going to be challenges.
Of course.
What are some hurdles the Internet Computer needs to overcome to really reach its full potential?
Scalability is still a big one.
Okay.
As more people use the network, the Internet Computer needs to make sure it can keep up.
Right.
Without sacrificing performance or security.
Mm-hmm.
They're working on it.
Okay.
But it's a major focus.
And what about user experience?
Yeah.
We talked about how decentralized apps need to be easy to use.
Right. Developers are putting a lot of effort into making the interfaces simple and the onboarding process smooth. They're also working on making it easy to use with existing web browsers and mobile devices.
Yeah, that's important.
There's a whole community of designers and UX people who are working to make the decentralized web more user-friendly.
So it's a team effort.
Yeah. Everyone's working together to build this new internet.
But let's be real, not everyone is going to be happy about this whole decentralization thing.
Right.
Big tech companies, governments,
they
might see it as a threat.
It's true. There will probably be some pushback from those who benefit from the centralized internet.
Right.
But I think things are changing.
Okay.
People are starting to see the problems with centralized platforms, like data breaches, privacy violations, censorship, algorithms controlling what we see.
It feels like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
We have to choose which way to go. Do we stick with the centralized internet, where a few companies and governments have all the control?
Right.
Or do we try to create something new?
Yeah.
A decentralized internet that's more democratic?
That's the question.
Yeah.
And the choice is ours.
The tools are there.
Yeah.
The momentum is building. It's up to us to decide what kind of digital future we want.
Exactly.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
Yeah, it has.
We started talking about market trends and prices.
I know.
And we ended up exploring some really big questions about the future of the internet.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
I feel like I've learned so much about the Internet Computer.
Good. I'm glad.
Its potential and the challenges ahead.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope this has inspired you to think about the role of technology in our lives.
Yeah.
And the possibilities of a decentralized future. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep talking about the future of the internet.
The choices we make today will shape the digital world we live in tomorrow.
Well said. Thanks again for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time. Yeah.